Hello, we're Team Ping Pong, and I'm Rhett.
I'm Christopher.
I'm Zacharias.
I'm an industrial engineering major.
I'm a civil engineering major.
I'm a mechanical engineer major. Well, the ping pong ball launcher is our work. So we created a ping pong ball launcher using wood PVC pipe screws and a metal rod and springs. We use the wood pieces to create a base to support the PVC pipe, which would be used to launch the ping pong ball. We then attach springs to the PVC pipe to pull in order to launch the ping pong ball. To attach the springs and hold the ping pong ball in place while it is in the PVC pipe, we use the metal rod. So this part is the design and improvements. So for the most part, we stuck to our original design, which was to create a ping pong ball launcher using wood PVC pipe and some sort of objects to propel the ping pong ball. We originally thought we would use rubber bands to propel the ball, but we later decided that the springs would be a better option. We made a few minor changes in the base of the launcher in order to add more stability and consistency to the launcher. Then another improvement we made was to the metal rod which would be used to pull back the springs to launch the ball. We improved the rod by adding handles made of duct tape to each side to keep the springs in place and to have somewhere to pull back on. So this part is the brainstorming. We originally had three different design options for the spring ball, for the spring of the ping pong ball project. A catapult, a launcher, and a mousetrap. Then we decided to go with the launcher because we thought that it would give us the most consistency and less stability. When deciding to use with the pink bubble launcher, we drew up a sketch of what we picture for the design. The plan was to create a right and with the wood pieces to provide support for the PVC pipe, which would intersect the base at approximately a 45-degree angle.
This is also brainstorming, and in our original sketch, we had planned to use rubber bands to propel the ping pong ball, like I said earlier. But we later decided that the rubber bands would be too weak and would probably snap, so we decided to use the springs instead. A design change that we made is that we originally had thought that the wood that we had gotten was enough to support the PVC pipe and hold it in place. But then we realized that it wasn't enough, and that so then we added the four small pieces, as you can see in the picture, between the wooden base and the PVC pipe, so that the PVC pipe is held more steady, and that it's just a more stable launcher. To test, obviously, we built a target 10 feet away from the launcher and just tried to get the ball to hit the target 3 times in a row from 10 feet.
So this next part of the presentation would be the testing. And so due to the high number of attempts, we originally did not measure the results of each of our launches because we took multiple attempts in testing and changing and adjusting to get accuracy and consistency. However, we did have launches that varied anywhere from 5 feet to about 30 feet, showing that we could get this thing had a very distinct range and it could go very far, but it could also go very short. So we had to essentially uh, change small to adjust those to shoot it more accurate. So the next primary objective of the ping pong launcher was consistency, as described earlier, and that was definitely the most difficult part of the project. But after many trials and errors, we were able to get the launcher to consistently shoot the ping pong ball in that 6-inch diameter circle. So here is the video of some of the beginning constructions. And so this is just a time lapse of a 30-minute video of us constructing the PVC pipe to that triangular base that you saw in some of the original drawings. And so we're right now at a workshop trying to adjust what angles we want to get this PVC pipe at, and eventually screwing in at 4 locations at the base in that angle, and then where those 2 wooden pieces cross over the PVC pipe. Originally, we realized that the PVC pipe was a little too thin to fit in between them. So in order to make sure they secured well and stayed structurally sound, we put wood boxes in between those 4 points of screws to make sure it was tight and secure. And so right now we're trying to figure out exactly how we're going to attach the springs. So is us trying to attach the springs to the end where we'd eventually attach the launcher. So right now we're trying to figure out where to put the divots in that top of the PVC pipe to be able to pull it back where that metal rod would go through. And so we ended up using a screwdriver and screwing in and out until we got a consistent thing all the way through it. And that was where we put the metal rods and eventually attached the springs into 2 holes in the base, which is what we're doing right now. And I'm cleaning out and relieving some of the bumps and tears inside that PVC pipe to make it a more smoother launch from the original attachment. Right then, we're just adding those springs and attaching them to the metal rod and figuring out how the best way to get them in so they don't move as much. Also, as you can see, we're using duct tape or just regular tape right now so that the springs wouldn't move as much, because we realized they started moving a lot, and then we're starting to test the initial to see how it worked. So the biggest hurdle and challenge that our team faced was honestly getting that accuracy and that consistency every time we shot it, because hitting a spot of a 6-inch circle, it took honestly a lot of time and an adjustment to each one of the springs and what angle we needed to launch it at. So that was easily a big hurdle. But we did learn that the more stable and that the more variables that we could like bring down or lessen, the easier it was to get a consistent ball hitting 10 feet. So lessons learned and some takeaways. We did a good job of building a stable launcher. One thing we could have definitely done differently is budget our time a little better, because we met consistently for the most part every week, but we didn't get a lot of done until about 2 weeks prior to the end of the project, where we just spent pretty much a big chunk of a day just working on the workshop, which is those past 2 videos we saw. We did enjoy the challenge of being the launcher to consistently shoot 10 feet, because we probably spent a couple hours just launching it multiple times to see what the small adjustments we need to make. But the big part that did take a lot of time was those small adjustments, which is something we had to take away of how much it takes to honestly get something accurate and consistent. But all in all, we really enjoyed this project and learned a lot from it. Team Ping Pong.